Donald Trump is not bluffing about tariffs. As most of the world scrambles to book a meeting with the president to negotiate a trade deal, China is only escalating tensions with the United States.
As you know, against my statement, they put a 34% tariff on above what their ridiculous tariffs were already. And I said, if that tariff isn't removed by tomorrow at 12 o'clock, we're putting a 50% tariff on above the tariffs that we put on. So they've gone for years. They've become a rich country because of people, again, that were in the White House that allowed this to happen.
And true to his word, Donald Trump slapped a further tariff on China in a bid to level out the playing field.
About tariffs.
Look, I just spoke to the president about this, and he believes that China wants to make a deal with the United States. He believes China has to make a deal with the United States. It was a mistake for China to retaliate. The president, when America is punched, he punches back harder. That's why there will be 104% tariffs going into effect on China tonight at midnight. But the president believes that she and China want to make a deal. They just don't know how to get that started. And the president also wanted me to tell all of you that if China reaches out to make a deal, he'll be incredibly gracious, but he's going to do what's best for the American people.
The trade war isn't just about tariffs anymore. It's about control of global trade. And it's exposing China's second fatal mistake, one that could cost them global power for the next 100 years. Now, they already blew it once in 1873 when the world shifted monetary systems and China chose wrong, losing its leadership on the global stage. Now, while headlines scream about tariffs and trade deals, behind the scenes, a new monetary revolution is underway.
The trade war between the USA and China is heating up, specifically when President Trump paused on all the tariffs for other countries except China. But is this whole trade war truly about tariffs, or is it about monetary policy? Could it be that China has committed an $11 trillion mistake simply because of how the government is functioning? And number two, how they didn't move fast on Bitcoin. This is going to be one of the most profound and informative podcasts that I'm ever going to do. Let's get this thing. You see that thing, baby? Let's get it and let's learn. Let's go.
We on now. Let respect us cause we on now. Money up, run the whole town, don't we? This power money can't slow down. Money won't slow down. Ooh, we doing a lot. How we got on top.
What's good, baby? It's your boy Dale. I'm back in the saddle again. Our motto is to buy, build. We already bought it already, so we already own it, free and clear. Refinance to long-term debt, cash flow. That is the motto. Cliff, man, is that a pretty strong motto, man? What do you think?
Man, the model is strong. Like, you're getting each piece of the invest, right?
What it do, y'all? It's your partner Dale and Cliff back in the saddle again for another edition of Real Estate Friday Live. Cliff, what's going on with you, baby? How you doing, big time? What's going down, baby?
Man, doing good. Man, it was a good week. Fun week. Had a lot of ups and downs, man. It's just another day in real estate, man. But I'm not mad about it, man. So it was a good week.
Yes, it was a good week, y'all. It was a good week, man. And it was a good week for me as well. Long, but good. I've been having some problems with my allergies, man, but I'm doing better today, man. Did we get the bag, though?
Every week, boy. Every week got the bag.
Yes, sir. If you guys could, guys, like, share, and subscribe if you like this content, guys. This is going to be a really good one, guys, because we're dealing with tariffs, crypto, and real estate, man. But Cliff, man, before we get started, bro, real quickly, man, go and give us a current market analysis. What's going on? What's going on in the market? What you seeing, man? As a licensed appraiser, what are you seeing in the market, big dog?
All right. So this week, man, we're getting into the selling season. Usually April kind of kicks it off. Is when people really start selling. The weather starts changing.
Yeah.
It's a little bit warmer, especially down here in DFW.
Yeah.
So I'm starting to see it pick up a little bit. I think the rates have been kind of crazy. Especially this past week. Y'all already know. Y'all saw the stock market go way down, way up, kind of come out flat. The bond market's doing kind of the same thing. So I saw interest rates fall. They're down about a point overall. Um, and that's been contributing to the overall market. So what I've been seeing is a couple more refinances have been picking up a little bit, not much, but I would say the overall trend for where we've been mainly going flat. I've said that
Yeah.
for I think about
Mm.
6-8 weeks now. Last couple months we've been going
Yeah.
flat.
Mm-hmm.
I think we're going to start seeing it tick up. I think
Yep.
we're going to start seeing more of transactions tick up. That's where I see
Okay.
it headed now, because I think that I think the moves that Trump is doing is going to lower the interest rates. He's trying to get them down because we have about 6 trillion in debt that the United
Yeah.
States has to refinance,
Yep.
and we want to do so at the lowest interest rates possible.
Mm-hmm.
So that's a goal. I don't know if they'll do it, but at least that's what they're shooting for. And if they do
Sure.
pull it off, you're going to see lower interest rates, and you're going to see mortgages start coming back, people buying and selling houses. It
Yeah.
probably won't be like it used to be because
Yeah.
prices are, you know, I don't even know, 30%, 35% premium to where they were in about 2020, 2019.
Sure.
So
Sure.
I think you're going to consistently keep seeing that. Um, I think if you're looking to buy, it's probably still time to wait, but
Sure.
prices are good now with the interest rates that they are. So what I mean is to say it's been going flat. Interest rates are better than they were 6 months ago,
Okay.
but the prices are relatively the same.
Okay.
So you can get a better home now than you could. And if you wait until the interest rates drop further, you could
Yeah.
start seeing prices increase to come along with that.
Okay. I can agree. I can agree with that sentiment in some form or fashion. I still think it's pretty stagnant. The real estate market, because of the rates, and to be honest with you, because of the uneasiness of the market when it comes to tariffs and trade war. People are kind of sitting uneasy, and I think people actually manufacture a lot of debt via a manufacturing a pay raise. I'm sorry, with more credit card debt, and that's what I think was kind of going on. So I think because of the cost analysis when it comes to per borrower, as well as the cost of capital, I think it's going to be a little stagnant for a little bit longer. Uh, I think that because President Trump and the Fed Chairman Powell have been at odds, I don't see a change in the rate coming probably this year, maybe next year. To be honest with you, and I think that's the right move when it comes to Chairman Powell because of a lot of the fake cash from the last 5 years that has happened from a lot of printing. That's the last year of Trump's administration, as well as all 4 years of Biden administration. So 40% of this of the country's currency, entire currency has been printed in the last 5 years. 40%. That's a lot of fake money. It's a lot of fake money. So, yeah, I see it can be kind of stagnant. So I can see what you're saying there. I just say if you want to buy a house, guys, what I would say is understand that your payment's going to be a lot higher than what it used to be. And to be honest with you, a 5 or 6% interest rate is probably going to be the norm moving forward. 2 or 3% interest rates. I don't see they coming back no time soon at all. It can't. I don't see it. You agree, Cliff? You disagree?
No, yeah, I agree. I mean, 2 or 3%. The only reason why that even exists is because of COVID. I
Yeah,
mean, 2 and 3% means that you're basically headed towards a depression, and they
sure.
need liquidity to keep the system going, and so they're
They
gonna
do.
cut rates to zero, and that
They
means
do.
basically 2% to you,
They
right?
do. They do.
And it's a bad sign. If you see
It
two,
is.
3%, that means the market's bad.
Yep.
So
Yep.
I
Yep.
think you're right. I
Yep.
think 5, 6% is gonna be the norm.
Yep. Yeah, that's gonna be the norm, and that's okay. That's fine, and nothing wrong with that at all. That's cool. Um, but that's what I kind of see, guys. But guys, here's gonna be the topics for the day, guys. Real quick, here's the topics for the day, man. It's our current market analysis. Yo, guys, today we're talking about the USA and China trade war, tariffs, baby. We're talking tariffs and trade. Number two, China's $11 trillion mistake, right? And then President Trump's crypto plan due to their mistake. And then four, how crypto could change the real estate market from a lending standpoint and from a borrowing standpoint. Cliff, man, this is going to be very, very, very interesting to talk about, guys. Let's dive into the first topic real quick, Chris. Cliff, the USA-China trade war. Let's dive into this real quick, Cliff. We're going to comment on it, and we're going to talk about how it's going to affect the market, and then we're kind of go from there. This trade war has gotten really interesting, in my opinion, Cliff, man. It's gotten really interesting. But let's go ahead and comment on this once we get finished listening to it, and we go from there. Here we go.
Donald Trump is not bluffing about tariffs. As most of the world scrambles to book a meeting with the president to negotiate a trade deal, China is only escalating tensions with the United States.
As you know, against my statement, they put a 34% tariff on above what their ridiculous tariffs were already. And I said, if that tariff isn't removed by tomorrow at 12 o'clock, we're putting a 50% tariff on above the tariffs that we put on. So they've gone for years. They've become a rich country because of people, again, that were in the White House that allowed this to happen.
And true to his word, Donald Trump slapped a further tariff on China in a bid to level out the playing field.
About tariffs.
Look, I just spoke to the president about this, and he believes that China wants to make a deal with the United States. He believes China has to make a deal with the United States. It was a mistake for China to retaliate. The president, when America is punched, he punches back harder. That's why there will be 104% tariffs going into effect on China tonight at midnight. But the president believes that she and China want to make a deal. They just don't know how to get that started. And the president also wanted me to tell all of you that if China reaches out to make a deal, he'll be incredibly gracious, but he's going to do what's best for the American people.
So China has to call first?
The Chinese want to make a deal. They just don't know how to do it, but the president will be implementing these 104% tariffs on China tonight.
He doubled down at a Republican function just hours ago, saying China will not be getting away with any more abuse under his leadership.
What other presidents allow China to get away with is absolutely criminal, but I'm not like the other presidents, and it's not going to happen under President Trump. It's just not going to happen. After all of the abuses they've perpetrated, China's attempting to impose additional unjustified tariffs. Just so you understand, they all got rich because of tariffs. You know, now when we do it, oh, it's so terrible what Trump is doing. It's so terrible. They got rich. And not only China, many countries. I mean, you look at Vietnam, you look at so many, I could name 50 right now. Biden couldn't do that. He couldn't name any. Name one country. Name any country. What's the name of our country? He doesn't know. That's why additional tariffs on Chinese goods are in place effective midnight tonight at 104%. Until they make a deal with us, that's what it's going to be. I think they'll make a deal at some point. China will. They want to make a deal. They really do. They want to make a deal. They just don't know how to get it started because they're proud people. China will now pay a big number to our treasury. This is all taxes. And don't let them keep telling you that this is a tax on our people. I hate that. You know, they say it's a tax. No, often much of it is paid. And hey, look what happened during my first term. We had no inflation.
And in response to the mammoth tariff, China hit back with a very bizarre boycott. Chinese media are reporting that they will ban American films, which elicited a hilarious response from American commentators. This person said, "China is banning Hollywood films as a result of the tariffs. If only I cared. Hollywood is morally bankrupt and will soon be financially bankrupt. Couldn't happen to a better group of people." But some are taking the move more seriously, noting the substantial revenue that flows into Hollywood from China.
So, Cliff, real quickly, what is your thought process on this tariff war? And also, let's talk about how it can and will affect the real estate market.
Man, let's start with the macro. All right. So the tariffs overall is going to cause higher prices. I mean, it's just kind of a natural part of it. How high? I mean, we still have to debate that. I mean, we're going to see a shock because the way that Trump is implementing them is it's just happening day by day. We don't know what's tomorrow's going to happen. Ultimately, the markets are going to settle out. I think ultimately what's going to end up happening is the smart move is going to come out, and I think most companies are starting to see that.
Sure.
Which is Trump could implement more tariffs, he could do less, and the next president could take them away, they could add more. And so what really the smart move is just to build in the United States so you get around all tariffs.
Sure.
if nothing else, at least some of the manufacturing, maybe 75% is out of the country, but 25% is in the country so that you can at least do some manufacturing within the company. And then if you
Sure.
need overflow, you can go outside the United States. Um, I think that's where it's going to end up happening.
Mhm.
We're going to see more companies start growing in the United States, and everybody who benefits from international trade is probably going to take a hit. I
Sure.
mean, at least I would, it's hard to think of off the top, but you're probably going to say a 15% at a
Yeah.
baseline
Yeah.
hit. I was just looking at, I saw that video coming up with, Xi saying he's going to limit Hollywood films. So I went over and took a look at Disney just to get an idea. And Disney is this month is down 15%.
Wow. Wow.
And because they can't sell anything, I haven't looked at some of the other ones, but I'm a day trader. So to me, I already
Yeah.
know that the macro movement is down. So I'm
Yeah.
just looking for entries and trying to just short that thing all the way down and catch some trades.
Sure.
But yeah, I think you look at higher prices, more companies coming to the United States to do manufacturing.
Sure.
That's what I see.
Yeah, I can kind of agree with that. I see the same thing. I could see that if you're acquiring any materials from China, if you're a business, or if what you're buying is consumer, it originates or has some form of business relation with China, prices will go up. It will. I think President Trump's his intention is to, of course, balance out the trade deficits there, number one. And then number two, he wants to bring manufacturing back to the U.S., which is fine. But a different type of manufacturing, I believe he wants to be more AI centered robotic type of scenario, to where not so much the old industrial type of manufacturing, but the more technology sound type of manufacturing, which is pretty good. I believe that China is going to they're going to bow the knee because we have a bigger consumer base than they do. They need us a lot more than we need them. And right now it's at 145% tariff. You have people like Kevin O'Leary saying he wants 400%. Patrick Davis says he wants 300%. Because of the fact that China is going to bow the knee. You can see that China is saying that they'll kind of course, banning uh, movies from the U.S. Okay, that's fine. And I think they went up today to 125% tariff. And I just see how President Trump, Secretary of Treasury, and the Secretary of Commerce, they're very relaxed. You see, when you see the finance minister from China respond, he seems a bit frazzled. He does. And I agree with Trump. Both sides want a deal. It's just they got to find the deal. That's it. But I don't think it's. I think it's. I'm behind tariffs if the play is to revisit or restructure bad trade deals that have been negotiated by past Republican administrations and past Democrat administrations. Does that make sense to you, or you disagree?
Yeah, no, I agree with a lot of that. I don't, but the only difference I would say is I don't see how China can make a deal. I mean,
Mm,
their backs against the wall. The reason why is their entire financial system is based on stealing IP,
correct.
unfair practices, cheap labor, and devaluing their currency.
Sure.
And they do it in a massive way. And they do that because the United States does a tariff, they can just devalue it. They don't care. They don't have a democracy. He could just
Sure.
devalue their currency. They do it all the
Sure.
time. That's why it's so cheap
Sure.
in China. The money's worthless. Nobody really wants it.
Sure.
So I think, but for them, what do they have to offer the United States
Yeah.
other than those cheap prices? And if Trump is saying no major manufacturing base in China,
Hmm.
um, tariff are going to stay because they're gonna try to flood the market. What can
Sure.
they actually do? They're
Yeah.
just take the hit. It almost seems better to them to fight the war than it is to take the hit. It's the same thing.
Sure.
Um, what they could do strategically is, all the relationships they already have in Southeast Asia, they could start trying to take over those territories, or at least the same some of the same things that the United States is doing to our allies and some of the
Sure.
places in the world. China can start doing that to Southeast Asia, Japan, Korea, Singapore. they can start putting pressure on them to say, if you deal with the United States, then you have to deal with us too. And that's going to start causing conflicts.
Well, I believe, though I can understand what you're saying, but I believe with past trade deals, what China has done, I think it's smart strategically, is, and I'm taking an example, the USMCA, the United States, Mexico, and Canada trade deal that Trump actually negotiated. Trump's intention was he wanted manufacturing to come back to the United States, but he wouldn't charge a tariff to Canada or Mexico. So what did China do? China, all they did was they actually built they built a manufacturing plants in where? Mexico. That's what they did. Mexico. Then what they did was they hired Mexican workers, and in Mexico, because of the USMCA trade deal, began to, of course, sell parts or sell cars or whatever maybe products to the United States. And what China did was by doing that, they were able to usurp that agreement, and now that's happening all over the world, And so what Trump is saying, he's saying, wait a minute, I'm trying to negotiate in good faith. You guys come and read the language, and I understand it's good strategy for you guys because you're doing what's best for your country, and you're going around our agreement. No, sir. No, so we need to negotiate every trade deal we have so that it is in balance. That's why he's making this play. And the world is not liking it. You're seeing a lot of countries, 70 to 75 countries are saying, hey, let's make a deal. Let's make a deal. China's not going to make a deal right now because they're perceived as being tough negotiators. And they are. They are. But I think they ran into the wrong buzzsaw with Trump. And it's simply because the U.S. has all the leverage. They do.
Well, and I think, I think you're right. We got all the leverage because it's something that we already started. I think iPhone, Apple, they already started moving their manufacturing plants out of China and moving into India.
Correct.
And more people were actually starting to do that. And trying to, but the problem is that, exactly like you said, all China would do is just go, oh, okay, well, we're just going to fly it into Mexico, land it, put it in a different box.
Yep.
Now it's a Mexican box, ship it to the United States.
Yep.
Same thing. That's literally all they were doing. But to me, they're not going to play by the rules. And I'll give you an example.
No.
Kevin O'Leary this week brought up a great example that right now on NASDAQ, right, and the New York Stock Exchange, right, they have Chinese companies.
Yes, they do.
Now, in order to be on the stock exchange, me and Dale, we want to start a company. We talked about doing an ETF or something. I don't know. We gonna talk. Sir. We go see. We gonna see about that. Trying to do it big time. But if we did that, we have to apply. We have to be compliant with all of the laws, regulations, and everything going into that.
Correct.
The Chinese companies currently on the markets do not abide by accounting regulations.
They don't.
They don't abide by investigations into their company. They just say no.
They don't.
Nope. They say, hey, we need your financial records. The Chinese companies just say no. They gave them 2 years to comply.
Correct.
It's been 3.
Wow.
So they should be if it was me and Dale's company, we're delisted. Yep. They will come to us immediately. Here's your piece of paper. Y'all been served.
Yep.
You're done.
Yep.
They're not doing that to China. And so, so my point being is, when given their back against the wall saying we will remove all your companies from the exchange, they didn't do it. And I think they're going to act the same way here, that even if we come up with a trade agreement, they're going to violate it. They are not good actors.
No, they're not. They're not honest at all. And so I think this is the reason why Trump is doing what he's doing concerning the trade war, is he knows his audience. One thing I say about Trump is I don't like some stuff that he says a lot of the times, but it is what it is. It teaches his own. But he's very good at understanding his audiences, who he's negotiating against. I mean, again, in real estate, New York is the hardest place in the world to buy real estate. The hardest place in the world.
Yeah.
This Bama, President Trump, was negotiating air rights over other buildings because his building was taller than theirs. Air rights. I didn't know they existed until I read his book. air rights. And I'm like, what in the, and he's negotiating against Sears Roebuck and Company, Dillard's. These are big Fortune 1000 companies and negotiating these deals. So that's why I said I think that China has met the match when it comes to negotiating. In the past, Bush couldn't do this. Obama couldn't do this. I don't think Reagan could do this. Carter couldn't do it. Nixon couldn't do it. Of course, Bush 1 couldn't do it. Biden couldn't do it. I think the one person that could do it potentially because he could maybe sway him is maybe Clinton. Maybe. But I think Clinton, I'm leaning toward no because Clinton can easily be bought off. He will chase $1 in a second.
That and other things too.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. I mean, that dude was a monster up in that Oval Office, boy. It's a monster, boy. But yeah, guys. All right, guys. Let's dive to the next topic real quickly. All right. Now, because of this trade war, China that was a mistake that China actually made. It was $11 trillion mistake, and this one is normally it's kind of long. So, but I'm gonna speed it up a little bit. And we're gonna bring in our guy Mark Moss real quickly. He did a video on this. He talked about how China made a mistake, an $11 trillion mistake, Cliff, and it's due to cryptocurrency, man. Watch what happens, man. Listen to this. Watch what happens. Here we go. Let's get into this thing.
Mistake. Now they've spent the last 100 years or longer trying to catch up, trying to fix or right the wrongs of that past. So for the last 100 years, they've been trying to get back to the gold standard. They've been trying to get as much gold as they possibly could, and they've been adding more gold during this recent time than any other nation out there. As a matter of fact, we can see that China has been rumored to be laying the foundation for the next world gold standard system. This was written back in 2016. So they appear to be laying the foundation to bring the world back to the gold standard, like it used to be. For those that don't understand, President Richard Nixon, 1971, cut the ties to the gold standard. So they're saying bring it back to that. Now we can see that China has been buying more and more gold as the trade war drags on. Now this is 2019. Trade war drags on 2019. Why is that? Well, in Trump's first term is when the tariffs really started.
Yeah.
That's when this trade war started between the U.S. and China, two dominant superpowers. And so this has been going on for a long time. They've been buying more and more gold as this trade war drags on. Now, how much gold do they have? Well, we can see that, number one, we don't really know. But let's do a little bit of math. We know that the U.S. gold holdings, officially the record shows, which, by the way, I don't know if it's been audited, shows the U.S. owns about 8,133 tons of gold in Fort Knox. We want to see that audited. But China's officially declared holdings, this is where it gets sticky, officially holdings is 1,948 tons, make up just 3% of its 3.2 trillion in foreign exchange holdings. But the real number is much larger than that. China's been the world's largest gold producer since 2007, the largest producer. This past decade, it has produced about 15% of all the gold miners in the world. Last year, it produced 380 tons. That's 20% more than the world's second largest producer, which is Australia. So not only is it the largest producer, but it's also one of the largest buyers. But I want you to understand what its policy was. It's key for understanding this. We can see that China has roughly mined about 6,500 tons. Mined 6,500 tons. Now, the key behind this is that the gold it mines, it keeps. Exporting of domestic mine production is not allowed. So basically, China says, hey, come mine as much gold as you want in China, but you have to sell it to us. You can't export that gold. So all of this being produced in China is being bought by China. Chinese mining companies have also been buying assets abroad. So not only have they been mining in China, selling to China, but they've also been buying assets abroad, Africa, South America, Asia, etc. The world's biggest producer. China is the world's biggest importer. So not only are they the largest producer, and they buy it all, they're also the biggest buyer at the same time.
Yes.
Over 6,000 tons has entered the country since 2000. Of that cumulative gold production since 2000, you get to a figure of about 13,200 tons.
Yep.
This is like back of the napkin math. A lot of it's like hidden. We'll skip ahead here. We can see that a lot of it doesn't go through the main channels.
Yep.
Since 2008, roughly 20,000 tons have been withdrawn from the Shanghai Gold Exchange. So if we add all this up, the rumors are that China could own somewhere between 20 to 30,000 tons of gold. China's hoarding gold to challenge the U.S. dollar. Again,
there you go.
This has been going on for a long time. This is 2014. So we have the two big dogs coming to the table, and the U.S. now is trying to force not just tariffs on them, not just trade tariffs, but this is a monetary shift, a monetary restructuring. Now, rumors also are that maybe China is paving the way for a gold-backed yuan. And so they might actually want to back their currency with gold, which then means they sort of in the dollar dominance. Other nations would rather buy a gold-backed currency like a Chinese yuan. Now, I've done other videos on this. If you want to see that, we'll link to it down below if you want to understand more about that. But that's not the key point that we want to dig into right now. Okay, what we really want to understand is that the last time this happened, as the world shifted to a new monetary standard, China decided to stick with the old standard. And they lost their position in the world. Now we're witnessing a new monetary evolution.
So as you can see, Cliff, what China's doing is China was hoarding a lot of gold because their intention was to basically move over the gold to their Chinese dollar and divorce and really to usurp or take over as their currency being the global standard, not the U.S. dollar. But
Right.
watch the pivot.
Okay.
Watch the pivot real fast.
While China is still trying to build the previous one. What am I talking about? Well, of course, Bitcoin has been the best performing asset in the world. It is the most scarce digital asset in the world. And right now we have people, corporations, governments all jumping into it. Now, I would talk about this as an evolution, monetary evolution. And the reason why, if you look back through thousands of years of history, of monetary history, you understand that it's an evolutionary process. So we've had feathers, rocks, seashells, all types of things become money. Eventually, gold emerged as the best form of money, but it's an evolutionary process. It first starts as a collectible, like, oh, look at this cool rock or this cool feather, or cool seashell. Look at this cool baseball card or whatever it is. Now, some, not most collectibles don't, but some become a store of value. So the wealthy store their wealth in collectibles. So, for example, not all baseball cards, but some baseball cards are worth a lot of money. Not every painting, but some paintings, some old cars. So some collectibles do become a store of value. Then some things could become a medium of exchange that we use it for exchanges for buying goods and services, but only if it has the right attributes, which are portable, durable, divisible, recognizable, fungible, things like that. So the Mona Lisa is not divisible. A cow is divisible, but it's not fungible. One, like a ribeye, is not the same as a liver. A banana would be no good because it's not durable, but gold fit all of those things. However, it's not very portable, right? It's very hard to move large amounts of gold. So now we understand that Bitcoin was a collectible. Oh, it's cool, magic internet money. Today we know that the United States government calls it a store of value and is putting it on the strategic reserve. But we also know that it has better attributes that could allow it to become a medium of exchange. So we're seeing it go through this monetary evolution. And we understand that in these technology cycles, we have a 50-year cycle as they reach adoption. And there's two distinct phases. First one was the retail phase. 2010 to 2020, we're past that. 2020 to 2030 is what we call the institutional phase. This is where Wall Street comes in, the corporations come in, the sovereigns come in, and we're clearly in that phase. Now, we don't know all the implications because we're still in the evolutionary phase, but this is where China's second fatal mistake comes in. Now, you see, China is, they have a scarcity mindset because it's a communist country. So they have to protect, they're a protectionist. So they can't allow their people to look on the internet to see what other people are doing in other parts of the world. They can't allow other technologies to come in. They have to have this scarcity mindset. So when people start innovating with different things, they can miss out on that. They want to stop it before it takes off, and so they miss the innovation. So, for example, they had a lot of Bitcoin in China, but they banned it over and over and over. As a matter of fact, China banned Bitcoin 13 times since 2012. Didn't work the first time, the second time, third time. Well, let's try 13 times. And that's because it can't be banned. It can't be stopped. But what they could do, and this is where really the second fatal mistake really kicked in, is that China had over 60% of the Bitcoin network mining hash power in their country. They had control of it. Bitcoin miners, China's cryptocurrency crackdown pushes companies overseas. So they decided to get all of the mining out of China. Now, what do they do with gold mining? Well, they're the largest producer and the largest buyer. So with gold mining, come mine all you want, but sell it to us. They had all the Bitcoin mining happening in China. They could have done the same policy. Hey, you can mine it here, but you have to sell it to us. But instead, they pushed it all out. Now, where did it go? China's kicking out more than half the world's Bitcoin miners, about 60%, and a whole lot of them could be headed to Texas. So the United States became the main beneficiary of this, and that's why you hear Donald Trump saying now, we want all the Bitcoin that's created to be created in America. He has claimed it to be a strategic initiative for the U.S. to be the world's dominant leader in Bitcoin. Create it here, store it here, and the U.S. has moved first, partly because we're not a communist country. We can have innovation. Now, we have some of the largest, most influential people in the world, or in the United States and the world, like Larry Fink from BlackRock, who is the largest asset manager in the world, who has now said that Bitcoin is an asset. Bitcoin is a store of value asset. We have Scott Bessent, the new Treasury Secretary, was just on Tucker the other day, and he said it is a store of value. Bitcoin is a store of value. We have Howard Lutnick. He is the Secretary of Commerce for the new Trump administration. And before I tell you what he said, let's just hear from him directly. Multi-billionaire Wall Street fund manager and now the Secretary of Commerce. Let's hear directly from him.
I guess the easiest way to get a clear view of where Bitcoin is going over the next 5 years is take a look at the last 5. Right? The last 5, Bitcoin has been an outsider in the finance business.
Okay, so now we hear him talk about it because we've heard him talk about it before. Now, Cliff, what do you think about this pivot here when it's coming to Bitcoin? I kind of see that China has made a serious mistake concerning crypto because they spent so many years trying to really operating by the Bretton Woods agreement, which is the gold standard, so to speak. By hoarding a lot of gold and with the intention of moving behind the Chinese currency to be able to say, okay, now we are the dominant currency and because we weakened the American dollar. Then you see Trump comes in and he makes a pivot over to cryptocurrency. Now, China actually had 6% of the miners actually in China, but they banned crypto, Bitcoin, 13 times and then kicked them out of China. The U.S. said, come on home, baby. So they came on to the crib. And now what's happening is Trump is saying, your mistake is my benefit. You see the same thing or what?
Yeah. I mean, it is a mistake. I mean, Bitcoin has, I mean, obviously it's growing fast.
Sure.
I still think that Bitcoin its use case is interesting. But ultimately it doesn't really have any tangible benefit. I think the only tangible benefit we'll see is if we start seeing the manipulation of money. You start seeing the different crypto tied to financial instruments, and maybe insurance. I can see insurance kind of being tied into to crypto and all that kind of stuff.
Sure.
Yeah, it's a huge. It's to me, it's not smart from China to just ban it because what's going to end up happening is if there is a integrated crypto exchange international market, they're just going to miss it. They're going to they're not going to have the infrastructure to be able to even be a part of it, which is going to put them even further behind.
Correct.
I don't see them. I mean, they could have a lot of gold. I mean, I always take it to the extreme. So if China had all the gold in the world, would you go with the yuan?
No.
I would. Exactly. So who cares how much gold they have because
Correct.
your government has been proven to manipulate, cheat, lie, steal.
Sure.
And
Sure.
so I wouldn't even believe it if you had all the gold.
Sure.
You might have it. I wouldn't believe you.
Sure.
So I don't think that's nearly as big a deal. I think it's good to look out for. It's good to know and be accountable for. But I don't think that's not major of an issue. I think in terms of where crypto really is starting to make its headway in is I think it's more foreign is you're going to see the power of crypto. I don't the United States
Yeah,
will have some, but I think foreign like countries, especially in South America, where they have
yeah,
more fluctuations in their money, for
yeah,
them to be able to immediately buy crypto and have
yeah,
exchanges to buy crypto. Now their
yeah,
money is solvent. And then what
yeah.
that's going to do is going to open up more markets for you to be able to sell internationally, to accept
Correct.
money, accept payment, accept international money flow. I think you're going
Yeah,
to see the evolution of money moving faster. That's where I
yeah.
see Bitcoin really making headway.
Agree. I think that Bitcoin, because America has, from an institutional standpoint, blessed crypto. They blessed it and said, okay, we said this has a store of value. So much so, we're going to create two reserves, a trust and a cryptocurrency based or cryptocurrency reserve, and model the same financial system that we have in place when it comes to creating the dollar in crypto space. uh, we've now, because we know that 95% of all the cryptocurrency transactions happen in the US dollar, right? In their mind, they're saying, China, checkmate. We got you. It's over. Now they can come back and try to buy themselves back in. They can, but they'll be so far behind, Cliff. It's going to be something because every other country is blessing crypto because America has. I mean, Trump is going, he's going, I mean, forgive my language, balls to the walls on crypto because his intention is to expand the money base without expanding the money base. Therefore, not creating any inflation, therefore, creating a way for banks as well as the government to begin to leverage so they can create more debt, flaunted that through the banks themselves. And then what happens with the banks is the banks can then fraction reserve lend on the crypto as well as the dollar because the dollar is backing the crypto because it's backed by the government itself. And now what happens is the banks then can give us better products and services, lower rates. They can compete for the business, which is great. That's what works well for us. So now if you're really smart about investing in real estate or crypto or even some stock markets if you know how to leverage the proper way, they've opened up another cesspool of money that China has just missed out on. This is how it's $11 trillion mistake. You agree? You disagree?
Huge, huge mistake.
Big mistake.
Yeah, I
Huge.
mean, I think one of the major benefits you're going to see of crypto, and then China's going to be is going to miss completely out on it, is the banking. I
Mm,
think banking is going to completely change because if you're going to say Tether is now backed full faith by the United States and other cryptocurrencies are too, I don't even need a bank. I should switch all my to crypto
mhm.
and that's it. But guess what that means? That means I can travel anywhere in the world, anywhere in
Ooh,
the world, transfer
yeah,
my money.
yeah,
I don't need to. If I go to Mexico and I decide, we decide to move to the Bahamas for whatever
mhm,
reason, I got to
mhm.
change banks. Why?
Yeah, yeah,
I can log in, see it. I could transfer the money immediately. Has my same debit card, everything. I could transfer it into the new currency immediately.
sure,
So I think you're going to see the forex exchange rates come way down. It's
sure,
going to be frictionless exchanges. Um, yeah, China's going to be. They're going to miss out on this. They're making a number of different financial mistakes because
yeah,
they have a closed off society. If you
they
don't
do.
play with other people, you're going to miss
Yeah,
out on the innovation.
yeah. Their government structure is what's hindering them
Yeah, yeah.
because they're isolated. They're so afraid of losing power via the communist because of the communist system itself. Because you're isolated, you're by yourself, you're alone, and they export everything. They import nothing. Import nothing. And so that's why you need America so much, to be honest with you. America did make a deal when Nixon divorced the dollar from gold. The deal, it was unspoken. The deal was this here is okay, we can now go into deficits, right? Because of us going to a fiat currency. In exchange, what we'll do is you buy our debt, we'll go into those deficits. We'll be the chief banking officer of the world because you're buying our debt, and we'll send you guys. We'll give you access to our consumer base so that you can build your own societies. That was the unspoken rule. Trump came in and said, enough of that. That was back in 1960. It's 2020, so it's 2025. Times have changed. Now I want to be the banking capital of the world and the manufacturing capital of the world. And I can do both because I can. And he's right. He can. He has all the levers. Now, Cliff, as we end everything, how can crypto change the real estate industry from an investor standpoint, a renting standpoint, as well as a borrower standpoint, homestead standpoint?
I think it's going to do a number of different things. Crypto is going to be huge. I think once you get it's going to create a depository. Once they actually start getting file sharing included with crypto,
Yeah,
you're gonna see probably a reserve at some point of information.
sure.
I don't know because then you're starting to centralize it, but let's be honest, Core Logic already owns that today. Uh, they're
They
not
do.
supposed to, but they
They
do.
do.
They got all
They
the,
do.
the all the data.
They do.
So closings would probably be much easier
Yeah.
just because it's easier to validate the information.
Yeah.
Um, and I think that you know, you'll be able to tokenize it. But I think that what's really going to happen is the people who are going to make the most money are going to be the exchange, the companies that actually convert the real estate into a token. Who's ever
Gotcha.
doing that exchange, who says, "Hey, we could take your LLC, convert it into tokens. Now it's 1,000 tokens or 1,000,000 tokens, however you
Hmm.
want."
Hmm.
And now you own those tokens, and those tokens are
Hmm.
represented by the LLC. Well,
Hmm.
who's
Hmm.
managing it to make sure that the account is correct? Who's managing
Hmm.
to make sure that's legal? Who's
Yeah.
managing to make sure that the rent's coming in?
Correct.
All of that. I think the management companies
Yeah.
who understand that are going to be the biggest beneficiaries of it because you're not going to trust this the same way you wouldn't would you buy a stock
Yeah.
if it wasn't on the stock exchange. You're going to question it a little bit more.
You are.
But if
You
it's on
are.
the stock exchange, you question it? No, you're like, "Oh,
Nah.
I know it's gone
Not
through
at
the
all.
regulations." I think
Exactly.
that's what's coming is more regulations into tokenization.
Oof.
And then there's gonna be these firms that pop up that you go to them,
Yeah.
you present them your information, they tokenize it, they charge you a fee at closing, and when you close, boom, your whole asset is now tokenized and viewed on an exchange to where you can see all your debts, current equity for your tokens, right? And then going to buy a home is just buying tokens on the market.
Yeah. Yeah. It's like crypto can I see it as crypto can act is it can actually make real estate like the stock market. It can make it like stock market because you're buying some tokens, which is effectively shares of
Mhm.
said assets, so to speak, and you can leverage those shares. So Cliff can buy, let's say a thousand, 500 shares of said property, making something up.
Yeah,
Cliff
yeah.
actually has 500 tokens on his balance sheet now. He can go to the bank and say, "Hey, Mr. Banker, I have these tokens with this. This is the value of it. I want to leverage that at a certain LTV." Great. The bank can do that all day long because of the fact that the security of the tokens is the asset itself. That's what they kind of see. Now, it depends on if they want a second lien position, sure, or it may be a senior position, depending on the equity, the debt on the property itself. But I kind of see that actually happen, and it allows for us as investors to be able to really increase the velocity of our money because we can acquire, leverage, repeat. We can acquire low, renovate, refi, leverage, re-leverage, repeat over and over, and then you can also lease it out and actually set up to where tokenization works well for the tenant as well, also to where they can actually you can put a cap on tokenization to where if it's a lease to own purchase, you can structure that the right way. It's limitless if you do it this way. You agree, man? You disagree?
Yeah, I think so. I mean, I think if I've already there's only one company I know of that is doing it on with the single family space.
Yeah.
They tokenize houses and they just charge rent, but you have to do it
Mhm.
100% cash. There's no debt
Yep.
because
That
that
makes
gets into
sense.
a lot more
Sure
issues.
does.
And I think this
Sure
and
does.
what they've done is they've taken it as they're not any investors, they're the management company, they're the property managers. What
Ah,
they do is they acquire, they raise
wow.
capital, and then they'll
Wow.
manage the asset for the investors. It's like an
Makes sense.
asset manager. Like that's what they do. They charge a 12% management fee and
Correct.
a asset acquisition fee.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
they, and there's no renovation. So they get a little money
That's
up
it.
front and then money as you go forward to manage the property, to keep up with it and everything because you got and I because that's the only way I think it will work.
I
Um,
agree. I
yeah,
agree.
I think real estate is going to make some big changes here pretty soon.
And I think it's going to be positive changes. And this is good changes not only for the investor, but also for the homestead buyer as well. It's going to be, I don't think people understand this, in my opinion, this crypto play by Trump is going to open up so many avenues. And I would damn near say this play, if it's executed the right way, may drive down the interest rate a little lower than expected because it's going to create additional revenue without excessive printing. All it's going to do. That's all he's done, so to speak. So we're gonna see how this thing goes, man. Man, Cliff, man, that was a good topic, man, to talk about, brother. Y'all, Cliff is when it comes to crypto, Cliff is a monster when it comes to crypto. He's gonna say he's not, but he is. He's a monster. That's for sure. But man, Cliff, man, real fast, guys. Hey,
I ain't gonna say
before we
no.
before we go, guys. Hey, man, real quickly, guys. Hey, as you say every single time, guys, you make money in real estate when you acquire, not when you sell. This is the reason why Cliff and I are wanting to give away our free ebook called Distressed Property Investing. It's free. It's how to find, right, vet, and structure and close your first or many distressed properties in your city, county, or state. You make money in real estate via a community, mentorship, and a strategy. Right, those three things. This right here is a stepping stone. One of the techniques, guys, is you can actually call down to your city and get a list of distressed properties that the city is wanting you to acquire, so that they generate a revenue. They give you a list of that for free or for a little small fee. It's in your city. It's real simple. It's not hard. All you got to do, guys, is scan on the QR code real quickly, which is fine, or click on the link below in the description section, which is fine. But if you can't do that at all, direct message me the word real estate, guys, and it's yours. It's 100% free. Cliff, tell them what's going on, big dog.
Yeah, you're gonna get just information on how to find deals, information on exactly what you're supposed to be doing,
Yeah,
distressed properties. What it is it? What's a distressed property? Like
yeah,
let's start with the definition. You got to understand it, the business, the ins and out, and really it's just a guidebook, right?
yeah.
You're gonna get the guide on how to do it, and at least get your first couple steps into the business.
Yeah, that is correct, guys. It's not really hard at all, guys. It's real simple. Just scan on the QR code or click on the link below. You can get it. And here's the news flash. Cliff and I think Cliff would be okay with me actually announcing this, man. Cliff and I are in the process of designing a deal flow app, a deal flow system to where we talk about buying distressed properties, right? What if you're able to not only locate them on your own, but we bring those deals to you. Not from a wholesale standpoint, we just bring them to you because they're deals. Because we get a plethora of properties, guys, that we cannot move forward on because it didn't meet our qualifications, or we want to invest, but it may meet yours. So instead of throwing those away, we'll give them to our Cash Flow Club Pro partners. It's real simple. We'll do it. And if it makes sense, we'll partner with you, right? You have a licensed appraiser to walk through each property with you from a GC standpoint and an appraiser standpoint, right? And you have a live banker that can even fund the deal for you and partner with you right there on the spot. Cliff, if we had this growing up, man, in our early real estate years, man, we would be a lot more wealthy than we are right now, right? Am I right?
Oh yeah. Yeah, I mean, it's basically the idea is to make it a one-stop shop where,
Yeah.
you get the deal flow. You're trying to figure out how do you get distressed properties. We're going to have those distressed properties already on the site.
Yep.
You're going to be able to talk to different assets to be able to help you buy the deal, review the deal, just do a lot of different stuff that you can find out, but it starts with the deal first. It starts with a distressed asset, a property that is below market value, and we're going to provide that to you. And then we're going to have a lot of other features too that are going to be integrated with that to help the process go smoothly.
Real simple, guys. Not hard at all. Click on the link below in the show notes or scan the QR code and go get your free ebook. It begins with understanding what a distressed property is and how to locate one, right? Now, also, guys, you guys are blessed to actually have somebody on the screen that is a licensed appraiser. Not only in Texas, but he can go nationwide as well. Also, what if you guys had access to someone that can give you counsel on you have an asset that you want to acquire, you want to know what the as is and ARV value, and also want to make sure that you have the scope of work drafted the right way to generate the highest amount of return on your investment. Well, the good thing is about it, guys, you have somebody on the screen right now, Cliff Hunter, as licensed appraiser. Cliff, tell them what's going on with the appraising business, brother.
Oh man, right now I'm in DFW, Dallas Fort Worth. So if you have any houses you want to get appraised, definitely go to hunterappraisal.com, sign up. We can go ahead. We'll reach out to you. We'll make sure that you're taken care of. But if you're actually outside of Dallas, we're in Houston too. We're actually in multiple cities, and we also do consulting. So we actually had somebody who had a portfolio, and he was trying to figure out the best way to be able to liquidate the portfolio, where he thinks he can get the best value, which ones he should renovate, which ones he should not. And so we were able to help him through that, and he ended up getting all of them sold. We helped him through that process. He kept a couple of them. We kind of went through that as well. So go to hunterappraisal.com and we'll be able to hook you up, help you kind of decide what you want to be able to do, and ultimately help you make the right decision.
Cliff, is Hunter Appraisal or appraisals?
Appraisal.
Okay, so I got it right. Hunterappraisal.com.
Right.
Hunterappraisal.com is on the screen, guys. Just type it in, schedule time to talk with Cliff, man. And I can tell you right now, to have someone at your fingertips or that can analyze a deal with you on the phone and maybe even do the appraisal for you, life change. It's been several times to where I had Cliff look at a deal for me, and I say, hey, Cliff, I know we're partners, but I say, Cliff, man, I want to look at buying this property, right? And I'll give you a real life example. We were buying a property in was it Ohio? You remember that property we bought, Cliff, that was that mold or remediation? Right. We had a situation come up to where the GC was stealing money from us and was not paying his subcontractors, wasn't paying them. So what did we do? What we did was we had to do a couple of things. What we did is we got on the phone line with the GC, right? And the subcontractor, we hired him on. We got him down to a good price point, which is pretty good because he's going to do some damage to that house. He really was. We watched him like a hawk, but Cliff was able to upfront pull the ARV comps, and the extra uptick in cost didn't hurt us at all. Am I right, Cliff?
Right. Yeah. I think we ended up selling that one, and that one did pretty well.
Yeah, I think I think it netted $116,000 on that one. Not bad, 6-figure day. No, it's not bad at all. But it all began because we bought a distressed property, sight unseen. Cliff, did we see the house, man, in person?
I've never been to Ohio.
Me never. Me neither. So we bought this sight unseen, bought it, renovated, dealt with the issues, and sold it when I rare flips, and they made $116,000 in one deal. I have the HUD. I can show you. No problem. Anything. But yeah, again, this is the value of actually having someone like a Cliff Hunter at your disposal to analyze a deal. I'll analyze a deal for you as well. But when it comes to GCing, more so appraisal, I'm going to point you over to Cliff because he's a licensed appraiser. That's what he does. That makes some sense. Well, God, Cliff, let's start. You want to say anything, man, before we get up your dog?
Nah, man, y'all already know. You're one deal away. Take your first step. You never know which one's going to be your best one.
Yes, sir. But guys, I got to go, guys. We got to go, man. Have a good time with your family. Before you leave them while you can, you see that thing. You saw it's looking better than you. Take the picture for your mom and holler at your partner. God bless you guys. See you next time, guys. All right, y'all. Peace.
Okay, so you did fixes and flips first, or were they? Now it sounds like you're more buying whole. Okay, so you're wholesaling first. Okay,
because I was broke. I had no credit. I had no money. So I had to get some money coming in. So I learned how to do wholesale.
And you were doing wholesaling at the good time too.
2000.
When it wasn't so saturated. There was.
I kind of saw the debacle coming.
Okay.
It didn't make any sense. I was like, wait a minute, how can you lend out to retail buyers 99.7%?
Yeah.
Just a little bit of a down tick, it's insolvent.
And you got to remember, in some states, because I lived in Florida at the time, you could have loan to value above 100% of your property.
Right.
The first property that I bought, it was 110%. We left the bank with like $30,000.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
It was amazing to me. I was like, why am I not doing this all the time? But then clearly 08, 09 let me know why people shouldn't have been doing that all the time.
08, 09, that's why I made a lion's share of my money.
Wow.
People
Okay.
were actually running from the cows. I was running to it.
Of course.
Because I saw it was coming.
Okay.
A lot of my business colleagues back then were buying flippers.
Yeah.
I didn't think it was wise for me to share 50% of my profit with Uncle Sam. He didn't do no work.
Okay.
So why would I give him free money?
Of course.
Okay, how can I make sure I'm still legal, but keep the lion's share of the cash flow?
Of course.
So I began studying the tax code with my accountants and CPAs, and I said, okay, I'm going to buy a whole lot of properties. Now watch this. I actually buy a lot of properties. I take home money when I actually acquire it. Every single time.
Okay, you need to break that down just a little bit.
If you wanted to know how successful real estate investors make money with their acquired real estate and not when they sell it, click on the link below or swipe up and download our free ebook, Distressed Property Investing. The blueprint is in the ebook. Stay blessed, holla at your partner, and download the ebook today.
Bless God, give thanks. Bless God, give thanks. Bless God, give thanks. Bless God, give thanks.